20 minutes, 30 minutes, however long it takes. I'm here just to guide you as the community leader of the Generate Group. Obviously, we've been bringing you these interviews to try to have as much impact as possible. And I'm really excited today because we're going to have Onyinye talk with us. And it doesn't even matter what you do for a living. Like, your energy is just infectious. Like, every time I talk to you in the group coaching program that we're in together, like your enthusiasm, your spirituality, your energy just comes through at a high level. And I know that you're a mom and you're a coach, and you talk a lot about finding that purpose and finding that energy and how that interacts with your spirituality to build the business and the foundation that you want in your life and your business. So what did I miss? I got to stay positive because
got it all.
I got to stay positive because matching your energy is tough. So what did I miss in the interaction? And I'm going to keep an eye on the comments here on Facebook. So what else do we need to know about you?
I think you covered all of it. Yes, I'm very big about spirituality, and my connection to God is a big foundation for everything that I do in my life. My faith is very much what has grounded me and kept me focused when, we've had challenges, obstacles, anything that's most people would have just been like, I give up. I'm like, oh, I have a direction that I'm going in. I have a calling greater than me, and that's been my guiding light.
That's awesome. And by the way, if you're just jumping on and watching this live, Cheryl, Brian, Angela, Sylvia, Gentry, Danielle, do me a favor, click the like button, leave a comment, because that's the kind of energy you have to get on Facebook in order to get reach. And we want to have more people hear this conversation. So, one of the things we talked about before we went live is you're actually a cancer survivor. You were comfortable sharing that. How much do you think, coming from this place of purpose and energy and having a strong foundation, maybe we can just talk briefly about that, about how, just having that core belief and that spirituality and your religious beliefs, like, how did that help you get through something, that challenging? And then we can pivot over to, the business side of things.
Yeah, sure. So not the funny thing at all, but prior to cancer, I grew up in a household that was very, the foundation was big emphasis on education and spirituality and God, and hard work. And for me, that was great, but I also didn't have the opportunity to really be creative or to really understand who I was and what my purpose was. Prior to that, I really actually didn't have any purpose. Cancer for me was actually the moment that awakened for me, because when I was given that diagnosis and actually told I had about 2 weeks to live because it had become so aggressive, that's when everything kind of, if you haven't been through it, that flashback, you see your life play before your eyes, and you have to take a step back and say, what have I been doing? And what do I want to leave as a legacy on this earth if I were to go tomorrow or today? And that really started that journey for me of transformation, of starting to ask questions about what was I really on this earth to do, talking to God, a lot of prayer, a lot of meditation, really reframing my mindset around the world, being more gracious. Prior to that, I was just going through the mundane, the day-to-day, have a 9 to 5, had some friends, but there wasn't any direction. And having cancer made me more focused on that direction and gave me a closer, deeper connection to God, because I knew there was so much more, and I was so gracious for every breath, for every moment, and being able to see the world in a different perspective than I had prior to it really changed things for me. And that's where the energy is coming from. I'm excited about life because nothing is guaranteed. So you have to enjoy it, be in the moment. Yeah.
It's so crazy because I think we all fall victim to that. And, in the comments, if right now, if you have found yourself getting into that, habit of like, I'm just going through my day to day. Yeah, I've got some good friends. I've got a little bit of success, but like, I don't really have like a guiding purpose. I've got some goals, but I don't have this, by the time I'm 50 years old, I want to accomplish X. I guess having kids has kind of helped, I want to raise good kids. So that's a purpose. But, for those people who are maybe watching this and they haven't really found their purpose yet, maybe they've gotten caught up in their sales job or their entrepreneurial endeavor. And you know what it's like when you're in an entrepreneurial endeavor, the answer is always more. I want to do more. I want to have more clients. I want to have more impact. I want to make more money. But I think a year or a decade can go by where we don't really think about our purpose. So when you start to talk to people about that, like finding their purpose and understanding the foundation of their business, what kind of conversations are you having, or how are you even talking to them about that? Because I agree with you, like, unless you've been through a near-death situation, it's really hard to focus on this kind of purpose conversation.
Yes, it is. It is because we don't, when we're comfortable, we're okay. We like to stay in our comfort zone. And to talk about your purpose expands you beyond that. And so I think the conversation what I have is, what lights you up inside? I think sometimes people think finding your purpose means like you got to quit your job and then just do this thing that's your purpose. But your purpose could just be how are you in alignment with your goals and with your values as a human being on a day-to-day basis, even if it's in sales or business or in the cafeteria. How are you utilizing the gifts, the talents, what you are here to do? How are you using that on a day-to-day basis? It's like you're an artist and you're very artistic. Are you expressing that? Are you feeling able to do that, whether it is at work or play or with friends? How are you showing up in the world? I think we stifle that to conform to where we are, but purpose is a way of being. That's the way I see it. Not just, yes, it's a direction, but it's a way of being, in the way you're showing up in the world and utilizing your talents, your gifts, your values, and being in the full alignment with that purposefully.
Let me ask you this, because this always comes up for me. Like so many of us, whether it's our spending habits or our family obligation or, people that we employ, I think a lot of us get stuck in this trap of like, well, this is just my life, right? Like maybe I was destined to be a great crocheter or, cello player or something, but it's like, now this is my life. I have certain bills and whatnot. When you talk to people about that purpose or stuff that they enjoy, how do you talk to them? Because you mentioned showing up every day. If you're an artistic person, there's ways to show up every day in that and honor that spirit. How do you talk to people about that? That maybe like, there's some people, they got to work at McDonald's to feed their family and make a living. But maybe that's not their passion. I would presume not.
No.
How do you talk to them about showing up every day and living your passion, even if you have a quote unquote normal job that you have to go to take care of your family?
Yeah, I think I talked to them about that in terms of like, again, how is it showing up in your life and what are your values? I think we can have that conversation about how is that showing up and how are you living it? So you may have that 9 to 5 working at McDonald's, which is not your passion, which is not your purpose, but are you truly grounded in who you are and what you're here to create? Because when you have a purpose, even working at McDonald's, you're still showing up in that way. If you're someone who, like you have the ability to change someone's, I don't know, perspective or the way they're feeling just by having a conversation with you, that's you living your purpose. It could be the way that you are handing people their burger or having the conversation around how are they doing today. That is still purpose. That is you bringing out your best, your values out in that way. Because I don't think purpose is just a job. I think people think it's like my purpose is to be a teacher. I think that's your passion. I think that's your vocation, but it's not really your purpose. Your purpose is I believe, so much higher than that. It is what is your legacy? What are you going to leave on this earth and be remembered by? And it doesn't have to be you working in some grandeur position at all. I met a janitor. Her purpose is to help people, and she's doing that in the work she's doing. It may not be the one that she's like she dreamed about, but every day when she wakes up and she goes to work and she's picking out the trash, she's excited and she's happy because she knows she's making a difference and an impact in some way, shape, or form, and her demeanor shows that.
I'm thinking so much right now. I have a friend, John Vroman, who just chimed in and is watching some of this. Hopefully he starts a watch party, leaves a comment. He talked about the happiest toll taker on a toll road that he ever met, where when he drove by there, just kind of going through the motions of giving her $1. Hey, how you doing? Thank you. Mm-hmm. He said, hey, how you doing? And she said, I am super fantabulous.
Yes.
And that was her answer. And she made everybody crossing that toll bridge, feel wonderful and put a smile on their face and chuckle about this interaction that's usually very robotic. And now it is probably robotic. Yeah. So, talk a little bit more about that. When people, because I think when we create energy, obviously we give people more energy, then we get more energy back. And, that's why I like having conversations with people like you that are so excited and excitable like I am. How are some ways that we can create some of that energy in our life? You can get really tactical or spiritual or, how do you create energy to go through your day?
I think for me, first and foremost, and I always say this, is gratitude. I don't think we stop and think about what we have. It's very easy to go down that rabbit hole of what I don't have and what sucks in my life, right? But why don't we stop and say, every day I wake up, I pray, I meditate, and then I say, what am I thankful for. I'm thankful for the fact that I can breathe today. Not many people can do that, you know. I have my kids. They're healthy. They're happy with everything going on. They're safe. I have my business, and I literally list down everything that I am thankful for. And it just, there's something about it that shifts in your mind, because then you're not stuck in this place of, oh, but I don't have this, and this sucks about my life right now. And it gives you a different perspective. So I think the biggest thing is to have a daily routine that puts you in a different perspective, and reframes the way you think, because we get to choose how we're going to show up in the world every single day. That is a choice. That is not something, we don't let external factors happen to us unless we choose that too. I can wake up and say, like, today's gonna suck, and I'm gonna be like pissed off, and that's gonna be the way your day is gonna be. But I can wake up and say, like, I'm excited about the day. I'm excited to see what happens, and take it as everything that happens is a lesson learned. It's an opportunity for growth, and to be just thankful for everything. And so, like, I have my gratitude that I jot down. I pray, I meditate, and then I take time to hang out with my kids before I even start my day to, like, be in my business, so to speak. When I have the time, I do some workout. I love to physically, like, you know, work out, get your heart pumping and the blood flowing. And I love to be in nature. My kids, we like to take a walk out in the park and just enjoy the beauty of the world and what we have every day.
You know, I feel like a lot of people hear that and they're like, oh, I got to meditate and I got to do my gratitude journal. and they think it's like, well, I don't have an extra 2 hours in my day in the morning, or I don't have time to become an expert in gratitude or meditation. And I tried meditating, but I did it all wrong. You know, I'm asking a question for myself more than anybody. Can you get in that gratitude, that meditation in 2 minutes, in 5 minutes, in 10 minutes? Or do you find yourself taking like a couple hours in the morning to center yourself?
No, I don't even have the time to center myself, because once my kids wake up, it's over. No, it's usually the first thing I do. And it takes me no more than like 5 minutes, honestly. I mean, it sounds like a lot. But I include my kids in the prayer too now, so it helps me a little bit too, but I'm also trying to teach them good habits. And part of it is a habit. So if it's something that is important to you, you're going to make time for it. Obviously, you know, I'm not saying take an hour. If I really sit down and do all of it, it's about 30 minutes tops, but it's because it's something that I found has helped me in my life a lot. I used to suffer from a lot of anxiety, and I was a stressed out mama all the time. And I realized that on the days that I don't implement it, there's a change. It is a definite change. I feel it in my body. I feel it in my soul. I know the way I show up is not who I want to be. And so I have made it very intentional that I have these practices. And some days they're a little quicker. I do it because I have other things to do, but I know that it's going to shift the way I'm showing up. And so I make sure that, like, I get it in before I do anything and start my day. Yeah.
And how old are your kids again?
I have a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old.
Okay, so if you can find 5 to 20 minutes every morning to start your day in the right positive mindset, and you've got a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old, yeah, anybody can do it. And you know, I think it would be ignorant for me not to address a lot of the strife and unrest that's going on in the world right now. I talk to so many people where it's like their morning habits are all negative, right? Like, how can I get on the news and see what's wrong with the world? And let's not kid ourselves. There is plenty wrong with the world that we can all work towards fixing. But I find so many people getting in this habit of creating bad habits in the morning. You know, I remember I used to room with a guy in the Army who, like, every morning he would walk outside and smoke 2 cigarettes before we had to go run 5 miles. And I'm like, how is that good for you? But why do you think it is that we're drawn into, like, instead of being grateful for what's right here in my household and my kids are happy and you and I are talking from different sides of the country, you know, I mean, this is like Star Trek. Like, there's so much for us to be grateful for in our house, but a lot of us start these bad habits of looking out there and starting our day with the bad stuff and the negative stuff. Like, do you have any recommendations on how people can get over that without, of course, being ignorant to the challenges that are facing, you know, our country and our world and our community?
Yeah, I think to start off, I think a lot of those bad habits are picked up from, like, childhood, right? We don't, unless you have a parent who's, like, really conscious of this stuff, we pick up whatever we see around us, and that becomes what we take into our adulthood, into, you know, then we start working, and then we really cut down on a lot of stuff that we need to do. But I think awareness. there has to be an intentionality on what it is that you want for your life. You get to create that life. And so, yes, you need to be aware of what's going on in the world. You're part of the world. But I think you get to step back and protect your mental health as well, and be able to say, how can I look at this, know what's going on, do my part in it, but also be somewhat removed from it so that I don't get sucked into the negativity of it. How can I put into place practices that are going to, again, help me in the long run? That's going to keep me mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually well and sane and balanced. And so it starts with an awareness that you do have this maybe bad habit, smoking 2 cigarettes before you take a run, and then making a decision and a choice to want to change it or shift it. And then everything is baby steps. Obviously, we resist change as human beings because we don't like getting out of our comfort zone. We fear it. But making the decision then that I'm ready to start doing something different that's going to benefit me. And so start taking small actions to do that. Start putting in small practices in your day that will eventually become habits so that you're not even thinking about it anymore. You're just doing it naturally, and then get support. For me, I'm someone who I'm a control freak a little bit. So I like to do things on my own. But I recognize when I'm in a place where I want to make change and something is blocking me. Once I start to reframe, then I'm like, okay, I need support. I need to ask for help and say, this is my goal. This is what I want, but somehow I'm not getting there. Maybe someone, can support me in that. And I think doing that as well is really important. Not trying to do it by yourself, but asking for help and getting support. Maybe it's family, friends, coach, mentor, whatever it may be, to help you on this new practice, and to help you stay accountable to what you want to create.
That's awesome. And you said something in there that I think is so powerful, is that duality of like, hey, I'm going to take personal responsibility and make change in my life, but I'm also not ignorant to the fact that I probably need a mentor or a leader or a coach. Like I'm finding it infuriating right now that human beings, especially on social media, can't hold 2 thoughts in their mind at the same time or believe in 2 truths. Like I can be personally responsible, and I can also need help. So let's dive into the help section for a while, because I know your passion is working with women business owners and people that are deep in their spirituality and their belief and their Christianity, and how they can lean into their business in that way. So as you notice, probably I'm not a woman. I might not understand all the nuances of coaching females, especially mothers that have unique challenges, and they're top producers, and they want to grow a business. There really is this space in America right now for females with children, because of the internet, because of all the tools, like to really have it all. So can you speak a little bit into maybe the unique challenges of the females that are in the Generate group, and especially maybe the moms and the Christian moms and the people that you really zero in on? Talk a little bit about how you find yourself coaching them, and some of the special challenges that maybe you experience as a mom that I really don't as a dad.
Yes. And that's where my heart shifted, because I first started off just coaching anyone really, but it made that shift happen because as a mom to 2 little ones, I recognized that there were unique challenges to being a mompreneur that if you're not in that space, you just don't understand. And I shared actually on my Facebook that I was really struggling when the quarantine happened, because I lost the support system of my babysitter and my daughter's daycare. And that's how I was able to balance my business. Was my kids would go to daycare for a couple days or have a babysitter while I was working. And now that was gone. It was me 24/7. And they're really small, so they need constant attention and care and engagement, compared to maybe an older kid who probably go to their room and close the door and never talk to you forever. So, right, teenagers are eh.
Oh yeah, no, I got an 18-year-old. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Gotcha. Yeah. So they're at the age where they want to be around you, they want to play with mama, they want to know what mom is doing. And so the unique challenge of talking to other mompreneurs and knowing that they too were facing how do I juggle being in my business, handling emails, working with clients, and still juggle the kids in the background doing God knows what. And so helping them address that, helping them feel okay about that. Because I think for so many, there's that shame, there's that feeling of I have to do it all and show up like I'm doing it all, and not being able to say I am drowning in all of this. How do I best balance this how do I balance my family, my kids, and still show up for my people, my clients in my business. And so that's what we work through, is like really setting out a plan for that, being very intentional about the way they utilize their time, because our time is so much more limited. I can't just wake up and be like, whatever. I have to be very intentional about my schedule, because I know when my kids take their nap and when they eat their snacks. I'm like, I have to be very intentional about that while still being able to serve my clients. And a lot of my work happens in the evenings because they're a little calmer, no more sugar rush by then. And so I'm much more able to do that. And so working that out for mothers when I work with them is helping them be able to do that, to plan their time effectively, to incorporate self-care. I cannot talk about how important it is, because as moms, again, we take on so much, we're balancing all these things, and we feel like it's all on our shoulders, and we don't know how to either ask for help, we don't know how to take care of ourselves, or we put ourselves last. And if we are burnt out, we cannot support anybody, whether it's our clients or our kids, our family, it doesn't matter. And so being able to really hone in on what that looks like and make sure that self-care is being implemented, we're balancing our time, and that we are putting our priorities accordingly, so that maybe today, like, I gotta take care of my kids because they're vomiting all over the place, or whatever it may be, and that's just where it needs to be, and be okay doing that and not feel guilty about that.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like, you're speaking my language so much right now, because, you know, in my marriage, my wife and I have a little bit more of a traditional setup. I work a ton of hours and generate a majority of the income. My wife's dealing with a majority of the childcare needs. But as she's getting busier and back into business, and she works in a field where I know she could be a top producer, we're trying to dance that dance of like, oh, who's grabbing the kids? Like, do we leave them with grandma? Like, do we just throw them in the backyard? You know, I told her this morning, I was like, hey, honey, just put the kids out back. And she's like, what? Like in the stables? Like they're horses or something? I'm like, I don't know, just give them some toys. Like, you got some stuff to do. I got some stuff to do. Like, put them out back in the yard. Like, the dog will take care of them. Yeah, it's a tough balancing act. So, you know, having spoken to the women in the group, and just assume maybe a little bit more traditional scenario where either the wife is taking care of the kids, or if the situation is reversed, and I'm doing a lot of loans for a lot of women that either the primary breadwinners and now the husband takes care of the kids. If you're on the other side of that equation, you know, if you're the primary breadwinner, or you're the one that's away from the household the most, and I'm looking for some coaching from you, what can I do to make space for my wife, or make sure that she's doing that self-care? Like what can I do to help? Because, you know, sometimes she jokes that I'm selfish, and she really is just saying that I'm very busy and I don't have a lot of time to think about her needs, which I'm 100% guilty of. So what can I do on my side to be like, all right, let me jump in and do my part of the equation here, other than just, you know, working 20 hours a day?
Yeah, I love that. It's such a great question to ask. And so to everyone out there, definitely. So my husband too, we have our moments where I'm just like, so I understand. I think the first is communication. Like you said, you're asking me, but I think the right person to ask is your wife, and acknowledge her. Acknowledge that, like, this is happening. You know, we're both busy, and I see what you're doing, because I think we like to be acknowledged, regardless of who you are in the relationship. Acknowledge that you see what's going on, you recognize it's tough, and just communicate, like, how can I help you? What support do you need from me? How can we balance, like you said, our time together? Do you need some time away? Do you want me to, you know, have the kids for maybe a weekend, and you just have a spa day with your girlfriends or whatever? Just,
whoa! A whole weekend?
too much. Maybe not a weekend, maybe a couple hours. Is that fair enough?
Yeah, let's start with an afternoon. I'm not committing to a whole weekend just yet. I'm a horrible dad.
No. Oh yeah, I love those dad videos. They're the best, I swear. But yeah, I think just communicate and find, you know, what works for both of you, because I think she'll definitely be appreciative of knowing that, like, you are thinking about it, and you are actually taking steps and actions to ask her about what would be the best and best way to communicate, and to work through balancing your time together, and the kids, and giving her the opportunity for self-care. Because like I said, most women, we won't ask for it. We're just going to be like, I guess it's on me to figure it out. But I think just being able to say, like, I acknowledge that you're doing a lot, and, you know, we're busy, but I want to give you that space. What do you need from me, so that you can have the time you need to also breathe, rejuvenate, and get back into it.
And by the way, if you're a mompreneur, I'm going to butcher that, or if you're a female lead generator, or you know somebody who's a husband who needs to see this video, do me a favor and tag any of those, like, strong female producers, and or their husbands who are in this group who need to give them a little bit of a break. And if you're enjoying the energy of this conversation, which I very much am, do me a favor, just leave a comment, hit the like button, start a watch party, all the stuff you're supposed to do on YouTube and Facebook. So just, in parting, I always like to let people speak a little bit into like, who's your ideal client? Who are you looking for that you would love to help? And then maybe your last tip for, running a business from home when you're doing mom, wife, high producing business, coaching, caring about this person, caring about that person. So how can people find you? Who do you want to connect with? And then what's your last tip? And we'll part ways because I know your time is super valuable.
Yes, definitely. But I honestly love being here. Like your energy is also just as like amazing. So thank you for that. I love this kind of energy. There's some who are like, and I'm like, oh, okay. So I love it. Thank you. So for me, I love to work with anybody. Honestly, I know it's like the cliche, whatever, but my clientele are Christian women, entrepreneurs predominantly, because I do help them build the foundations of a thriving business. I help them get really connected to that purpose. So when they are building their business, it's with purpose, intention, and a mission. And so that would be my ideal client. But I work with women in various ways because I'm actually growing my speaking business too, so that I can definitely reach out and really impact lives in a different way. And my parting words to everyone is to just practice gratitude. That's what I want to leave everyone with. I know there's a lot going on in the world right now, and it's very easy to get sucked into it. But regardless of where you're at, practice gratitude. See what the blessings are in your life and know that it will take you far, and trust in that, and enjoy.
Well, I think that's a great way to end an interview. Maybe what we can do is when you're back to daycare and back to babysitter, we can bring you back on when you have a little bit more time, and then we'll have a follow-up conversation here in a couple of weeks. Because like I said, the coaching calls that we've been on together in group calls, I just absolutely love your energy. So I wanted to have you on, and thank you for sharing so openly about, everything that's gone in your life and everything that you're working on now. So we'll put all your links and websites and everything in the comments. We'll make sure we share this around as much as possible. And trust me, if you are a female, if you are a female business owner, if you are a female Christian business owner, like this is the person you want to be talking to for coaching. So thank you so much for being on.
Thank you so much, Guy. I appreciate it.
All right, we'll talk soon.